The World Cup is imminent, with a newly expanded format meaning 48 teams will be in attendance. The biggest names in world football will be there, with Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe all turning out for their countries. However, the focus of this video is not on them. The idea of this episode of the Football Data Guy podcast is to give you a run through of some of the more unknown players who could have breakout tournaments. Sticking with the actual format of the World Cup squads, I've picked 26 players across all of the positions a World Cup squad will need. Some positions were harder than others. There's an abundance of midfielders and wingers out there, but a lack of goalkeepers and strikers to choose from, which is an interesting insight in itself. The other thing to note is I've tried to focus more on the unknown players who could be having their first breakout tournament, as opposed to players like Endrick or Arda Güler, who are already big names on the world stage. We'll start, as is traditional, with the goalkeepers, where there's one real standout player. Dion Suzuki will be Japan's starting goalkeeper going into the tournament. Goalkeeper is a position where it usually takes longer to trust a talent at the top level, particularly on the world stage, so Suzuki really is a rare case. He was born in New Jersey to an American father and a Japanese mother, but spent all of his adult life in Japan. He signed for Urawa Reds in the J-League at just 16, spending 3 seasons with them before a loan in Belgium with St. Truidens set him on a path to the Serie A. He's been Parma #1 for 2 seasons now and kept 5 clean sheets in 20 games this season. He's got good reflexes, has a high number of high claims, and also rates well compared to other Serie A goalkeepers in terms of ball distribution. Japan are a lot of people's dark horses, and if they do end up going far in this tournament, Suzuki will have a big part to play in that. The second choice for goalkeeper was a bit harder, but I've gone for Owen Goodman. Goodman was born in Harold Wood in London, but moved to Canada at the age of 5 and played for some Canadian sides before moving back to his home country to join Crystal Palace Academy in 2015. He's had his share of loans away from the club, with his time at AFC Wimbledon in the 2024-25 season being his standout year, with 21 clean sheets in League Two. He's been with Huddersfield and Barnsley this season, earning the starting path at the latter, having been displaced as #1 by Lee Nichols at the Terriers. It's that regular football that's seen him get his World Cup call-up at just 22 years of age. He's yet to be capped by Canada and will be looking to displace 2 keepers from the MLS to earn some starting time in the tournament. So now we move on to the right backs, where we have a home nation graduate now playing in Spain and an exciting new attacking Brazilian fullback. We'll start with the United States' Alex Freeman. The Baltimore-born defender had his breakout season in the MLS in 2025, earning a selection for the All-Star team. That's if you don't know American sports, they pick a team of All-Stars, and usually in the States, this All-Star team will play against some of the top English teams when they go and do their pre-season tour. So it's quite an honor over there. He also won the league's Young Player of the Season award that season. And scored 6 goals for Orlando City, which earned him a January move to Villarreal. He's a pacey, powerful runner who's good at getting to the byline, is very comfortable on both feet, and can also be a set-piece threat. Of his 6 MLS goals, 4 of those were headers, and he was often drifting round to the back post at corners to get himself free to nod in there. We go from the USA's starting right back to Brazil's starting right back. Roma signed Brazilian Wesley at the start of the season from Flamengo for €25 million, and he's already looking to be an incredibly shrewd bit of business. As you can see from his heat map, he has the ability to play on either side of defence and has very much been Roma's standout player this season, scoring on his debut and then chipping in with 4 more goals throughout the season. He created more big chances than any other Roma player, but also excelled defensively, as he was able to use his pace to record a high number of ball recoveries and successful tackles. Brazil have arguably been lacking a right back with this sort of profile since the days of Maicon. That's the pacey fullbacks covered. Now, for a set of versatile centre-backs, all of whom would be equally comfortable in a back three or a back four. There won't be many 18-year-old central defenders at the World Cup, which is why Lucas Harrington is so unique. He started playing in his native Australia for Brisbane Roar at the age of 16 before moving to the MLS with Colorado Rapids in the January of this year. He made his Australia debut on the 26th of March 2026 and now has 3 caps for his country in what has already been a meteoric rise. His height is listed at 6'1", but I'm not sure how accurate that is from watching videos of him, as he feels a lot taller. He reads the game well for someone so young, is constantly scanning, which allows him to put in a number of vital interceptions and blocks. After last year, it looked certain that Dean Huijsen would be going to the World Cup. The youngster was highly regarded as the best young defender in the Premier League and earned his dream move to Real Madrid. But the form and impact of others, including Pubil, has seen him miss out. What makes that even more of a shock is the fact that Pubil is yet to make his debut for the national team. That's not to say he doesn't deserve it, though. After a breakout season at Almeria, he moved to Atletico Madrid in the summer and had to bide his time before properly breaking into the team in December and not looking back. He offers a physical presence and the ability to cover at right back if needed, which may have given him the edge over Huijsen in terms of versatility. In terms of numbers, he was the best performing Atletico defender in a number of metrics, with the highest clearances per 90, the standout one. Like the rest of the Spanish contingent, he's comfortable on the ball and possesses a good amount of pace, something that is becoming more and more important in modern day defending. Next, we have Nathan Ngoy from Belgium and Lille. Ngoy is much like the other 2 defenders on this list so far. He's playing well for his club, has yet to majorly feature for his country with just 2 caps, but seems to be trusted by his manager for this tournament. Defence is a problem area that is in need of regeneration for Belgium, and Rudy Garcia is now looking to refresh it. Ngoy could be the answer to that problem. The 22-year-old has had a solid season in Ligue 1, having made the step up from the Belgian Jupiler League when he joined Lille in the summer. Unlike the other 2 defenders that we've just covered, he's a bit more of a ball-playing defender, which you can see from the number of progressive passes and progressive carries on his visual. Those line-breaking passes and carries are what make him stand out above the other 2, but he's also capable of doing his share of defensive work as well, and is very solid at that side of the game. Next up, and completing our set of centre-backs, is Renato Veiga. Veiga is a more established member of his national side than the other 3 on this list, with 11 caps for Portugal. The 22-year-old is one of many youth prospects that Chelsea were hoarding, but he only made 7 Premier League and 6 Europa Conference League appearances for the Blues before being loaned to Juventus and flipped for profit in the summer, as they sold him to his current club, Villarreal. It's taken him time to settle in Spain, but he's finished the season strongly and will be pushing for a spot in Portugal's starting lineup at the beginning of the tournament, having come off the bench in the Nations League final. He's the only left-footed option that I've included in my squad, so provides a bit of balance there. Like Ngoy, he has a balance of on and off the ball ability, which is crucial in the modern game. Next up is the left backs. With such an attacking right-back selection, there's a bit more balance here. We have another Belgium in our left-back selection in Joaquin Seys, who has come through the youth system at Club Brugge. He's had an excellent season in the Jupiler League with 2 goals and 7 assists, including 2 in the Champions League at just 21 years old. Like Wesley, who we mentioned earlier, he can play on either the left or the right, despite being naturally left-footed. His 2 seasons of Champions League experience will mean he'll have experience of playing in big games against the world's best, having come up against Barcelona, Arsenal, and Atletico Madrid in this year's competition. Unlike the right-backs I have in the squad, he's probably slightly more defensive, with his pressing and ability to read when to jump and win the ball back, and when to drop and make a block instead being one of his key attributes. He'll be competing with Brighton's Maxime de Kuiper and Fulham's Timothy Castagna, so his minutes will likely come from the bench, but he'll be hoping to make a big impact when he does come on. And our final left back in the squad is Germany's Nathaniel Brown. Eintracht Frankfurt have had a very good season, finishing 8th in the Bundesliga, and have a couple of players who have made it into my squad. Nathaniel Brown is one of them, having been selected for Germany. With an American father, he could have opted to play for the home nation, but having come through the German youth system, he's instead managed to break into one of the hardest squads in Europe to get a place in. His numbers this season in terms of goals and assists are comparable to a lot of attacking left-backs with 4 each. But across his Bundesliga career, he has provided assists for Omar Marmoush and Hugo Ekitike, with a bunch of high-profile strikers having come through at Eintracht Frankfurt. He's equally comfortable overlapping as he is underlapping, and he's always up the pitch supporting attacks. His pace and stamina is such that he's able to contribute that well in the attacking third, whilst not being left too exposed defensively, making him very highly rated in Germany. We're now into midfield, and to start with, we'll look at the more defensive midfielders. Strasbourg's Samir El Mourabat is definitely that. The 20-year-old Moroccan actually played football for France at youth level before signing for the Strasbourg youth setup. He made his breakthrough into the first team this season, starting 22 games. That futsal background is evident in his post-ball receive ball retention. That's a metric that measures how often a player keeps the ball when it is passed to them and does something productive with it rather than getting tackled. That metric is at 92.3% for the season, which is a very, very high number. He's often Strasbourg's outball for that reason, receiving from defenders and then trying to play through the lines. He does the dirty work too. His 38 tackles won ranks him joint third out of all defensive midfielders in Ligue 1. Next on the list is El Mourabat's club teammate. Valentin Barco joined Strasbourg from Brighton this summer for €10 million as a left back, but he's been transformed into a defensive midfielder under the stewardship of first Liam Rosenior and then Gary O'Neill. That switch has brought the best out of his passing ability. He's been a creative force, generating 4.86 XT, that's expected threat, and creating 13 big chances across the course of the season. He's been tipped for big things for a while now, but with Fabrizio Romano recently suggesting he's on his way to Chelsea, this World Cup could finally be that breakthrough for him. Next up, we have our second Canada representative in the squad in Nathan Saliba. In 2024, Saliba made the 22 under-22 MLS lists of prodigious talents to come out of that league whilst playing for CF Montreal. Anderlecht took a chance on him at the beginning of the season, signing him for just €2 million, and he settled in well, starting 28 games. He's more of a box-to-box midfielder than the other two we've just talked about, and you can see from his heat map that he has very good pitch coverage. He's also fond of a shot from range, with 29 of his 47 shots this season coming from outside the box. Unlike some on this list who will be more players that make an impact off the bench and may not be regular starters, I very much expect Saliba to be a regular starter in central midfield for Canada. Now we move on to central midfielders. This is a loose grouping, as any of the defensive group and the central group could play together in a double pivot or in a midfield three in many different roles, but these are the three that, in my opinion, are slightly more attacking. Arden Jashiri is perhaps a risky one to include here following an injury-hit season with AC Milan, but the Swiss midfielder comes with excellent pedigree from his time at Club Brugge, which resulted in Milan spending €36 million on him. He's the perfect balance between the other midfielders in the squad and a bit of a jack of all trades. He's able to play the line-breaking passes, he's able to create chances, he's very good at getting his body in between the attacker and the ball to win back possession, and he has very good close ball control. Ayoub Bouadi is our bonus midfielder here. Technically, a World Cup squad is required to have 3 goalkeepers, but as I was struggling to find more than one worthy of inclusion, really, I've cheated a bit and used the extra squad slot to include another central midfielder. At 16 years and 3 days old, Bouadi became the youngest ever player to appear in a European competition when he played for Lille in the Europa Conference League. He was captain of the France under-21 side, but switched allegiance to the Morocco at the beginning of May, right before being selected for their World Cup squad. Profile-wise, his languid style of play reminds me a bit of Paul Pogba, with his long stride meaning that he's able to cover the ground quickly when he needs to defend, whilst he also looks supremely confident on the ball for someone so young. Our final midfielder is another Bundesliga talent. Manzambi was part of the Freiburg team that made it to the Europa League final and was the one player who stood out to me when watching them in the showpiece against Aston Villa. I've got him as a central midfielder, but he played in a completely free role in that game, popping up all over the pitch. The reason for that is his excellent dribbling skills and quick feet. He completed 33 of 71 take-ons this season, and you can see from the take-on map that a lot of those were in dangerous areas all the way across the final third of the pitch. Like Saliba, he also enjoys a shot from range, but his have been far more successful, with 3 of his 5 goals this season coming from outside of the box. Now we're on to our number 10s. Again, with the fluidity in football these days, both options could really play anywhere across the front three or even in central midfield, but they're their club's main creative influence, so they're being grouped together here. Manzambi, who we've just covered, does have the ability to play in the 10, but these are our more natural selections in that position. And we'll start off with Algerian Ibrahim Maza. Maza came through Hertha Berlin's academy, making 51 appearances for them in the Zwei Bundesliga, which is the second tier of German football, before earning a Bundesliga move to Bayer Leverkusen this summer. He took like a duck to water in his first season of top-flight football with 5 goals and 6 assists across all competitions. As you can see from his heat map, he's got a very good all-round profile. He's comfortable receiving the ball and often pops up on both wings to help his team play out of trouble. He's elite in terms of taking players on, with his numbers this season being comparable to the world's best. He has the 6th highest successful take-ons in the Bundesliga, whilst his ability to time his runs into the box saw him get on the end of a number of presentable chances, even if his finishing wasn't quite up to scratch. Turkey have a number of Wonderkids already on the world scene. Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz were the ones to really come to the fore in their successful Euros run, and Uzun looks to be the latest to come off that conveyor belt of talent. He's a very different profile to Maza. Where Maza looks to get involved all over the pitch, Uzun is very focused on staying in areas where he can cause damage, as you can see from the heat map, being largely focused on the inside 10 space on the right wing. He's not as prolific a dribbler, but will create chances with good 1-2 passing and chipped crosses into the box. Where he adds a different element to Maza is his finishing. He's an unerring finisher with 8 goals this season from just 4.06 XG. The next selections are again technically grouped into right wing and left wing, but such is modern day football, any of them would be comfortable playing on either side. First, we have the 3 right wingers, 2 of which are right-footed and 1 who is left-footed. Starting with Asana Diao, someone who under Cesc Fabregas's tutelage has taken his game to another level this season, helping Como qualify for the Champions League. He's had an injury-hit season, but his 24-25 season was seriously impressive, with 10 goals and 4 assists in a season where he moved from Real Betis to the gorgeous scenery of Lake Como. As you can see from his carry map, dribbling is his main attribute, and his powerful running to drive down the wing and look for crosses into the box is something that he can use to great effect on both sides of the pitch. Unlike some of the others that we're going to see in this group, his main goal is to get in down the sides and create chances for others, as opposed to finishing them off himself, which is why he's only got 2 goals there. We move from Senegal to the Ivory Coast and on to Yan Diomande, one of the outstanding talents in the Bundesliga this year. He's the first player to score 12 goals in a Bundesliga season since Haaland and Sancho, and he's just 19 years of age. His volume of carries and take-ons are just ridiculous. 145 progressive carries, 118 successful take-ons. Like Diao, he can play on both sides, but his end product this season has been phenomenal. 6 assists, 16 big chances created, 46 carries resulting in a shot. He'll get less of the ball for his country, but playing for Red Bull Leipzig has also given him an excellent grounding in pressing. With his pace, he's someone that defenders won't enjoy seeing running at them and trying to close them down. With 2 right-footed wingers in the squad, we need a bit of variety in there. That's where Edmir Baraktarevic comes in. The Bosnian is less experienced than a lot of my squad, not playing at quite the same level and still not considered a regular starter by PSV Eindhoven. Only 8 of his 28 appearances this season were starts. Despite that, he possesses the raw natural talent that people love to watch. He's a flicks and tricks winger who loves back heels, step overs, and nutmegs. He's also a very good crosser, with 3 of the 4 assists he got this season coming from a little chop inside and a wicked delivery into the box. He did actually make an appearance for the US national team before switching to play for Bosnia in September 2024 and has now made 14 appearances for his country. On to left wingers, and we're back looking at a video because my first left winger doesn't have a full set of data available for him. There's not a lot of variation here. We've got 2 right footers who love to cut inside, which will create space for our overlapping left backs. So we'll start with Relebahile Mofokeng, who plays for South Africa and the Orlando Pirates. He's one of the few members of this squad to not be playing in one of Europe's top leagues. He still plays in his home country for Orlando Pirates, but is one of the hottest talents in South Africa. He has a penchant for the audacious with a highlight reel of skill moves, but not without end product. 18 goal contributions in 27 games is a good return, and that helps Orlando Pirates to the league title this season. That form hasn't quite translated internationally yet, with no goals in 12 appearances for his country, but what better place could there be to score your first goal than at the World Cup? Nusa is the other side of the Red Bull Leipzig attack. We've covered Diamande earlier, so this is his partner on the other wing. The Norwegian will be looking to use the World Cup to really headline on the main stage. Like his Leipzig teammate Diamande, he's a player that likes to take on his defender with a huge number of take-ons around the edge of the box. He has 7 goals in 22 appearances for Norway and a number of assists by isolating his man and delivering excellently weighted back post balls for Haaland to nod in. That's very much a Norway cheat code to look out for. He's quick, he's direct, but he has end product and variation too, whether that's cutting inside to get shots away, delivering crosses, or playing through balls into the striker. Now, one of my main takeaways from all of this research is that there are a ton of creative players in midfield and on the wings in world football, but a lack of out-and-out number 9s. Sticking the ball in the back of the onion bag is not in vogue anymore, so these 3 picks are a bit more rogue than some of the other selections. I'm cheating a little bit, including Nestoy Irankunda in my strikers section, as he does play a lot on the wing. However, with Watford this season, he has played in the front 2 and he's even played as a lone striker, so I think I can get away with it. Pace is his main attribute, and like Nusa and Diamande, who we've just talked about, he again has a high number of take-ons completed. He had 68 shots this season, but only scored 4 times with 9 big chances missed. 3 of the 4 goals he did score, however, came from outside the box, so it's clear he's got a rocket on him. I'm interested to see how his World Cup performances compare to those other 2 previously mentioned. The Championship is a very different league to the Bundesliga, and I think Irankunda can be every bit as good as the 2 Leipzig players. He's maybe lacking a bit of height compared to them, but everything else about his game is a match, and if Australia need a bit of individual brilliance in this tournament, then he's the man. And we're back again. Another player who doesn't have a wide variety of data in the squad is Armando Gonzalez, who plays for Mexico and Guadalajara. I included Irankunda in the strikers section because there's not that many strikers, 23 or under, bagging goals. The number 9 as a breed seems to be dying out. Gone are the days of 20 goal a season strikers. Only Erling Haaland and Igor Thiago scored more than 20 goals in the Premier League this season. With Raul Jimenez now 34 years old, Mexico are looking to find his successor. And Armando Gonzalez is in with a great chance. He scored 12 goals in 17 games for Guadalajara so far this season with a number of different finishes. He's good in the air, composed from the penalty spot, comfortable with his left or his right, and has a low centre of gravity that means he's a great option for holding the ball up. There have been some good talents to come out of Mexican football, and he could be the latest. We finish with Yoann Bonni, who is in this list based on reputation rather than stats and performance this season. As mentioned, it was hard to find high-scoring number 9s. Bonni was one of many who's had a stop-start season with injuries, but despite that, he scored 5 goals from just 22 shots. Add 4 assists to that, combined with the fact that he only managed 1,252 minutes, and that shows real impact. He's tall, he's strong, but also good on the ball, and as we've seen just there, a clinical finisher. He likes to drift out into the left channel for Inter, but it's also good with his feet for a 6'2" striker. He has 43% of his take-ons completed, and that's a very good number. With Bonni, Diomande, and Bazumana Torre, who was on my shortlist for the squad but didn't quite make it, the Ivory Coast could be the dark horses in this tournament. So there you have it, a full 26-man squad of the brightest talents at the World Cup that you may or may not have heard of. Only time will tell how many of these players will make an impact. There's no way of knowing for sure other than watching the tournament. I'm certainly no oracle, but I've put plenty of research into this piece, and hopefully my selections will chime with some of you. If not, then I hope you've enjoyed listening to this regardless. If you've got any players that you think that I've missed, or that are definitely more worthy than others of inclusion in this squad, then let me know in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, there'll be more content coming out throughout the World Cup. So please like, please subscribe, please share this with your friends, and keep watching.